Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. I just got up not too long ago. It's really early. I'm posting this video. I'll probably post this video a bit later, but it's really early in the morning here, so that's why I probably sound like I have morning voice and look a little tired. I had a bit of a late night last night. So, I've been thinking more and more about The Last Jedi, and I still have only seen it once. I am planning on seeing it again, but I feel so disappointed about how the movie ended that I'm not rushing out to see it again. And that really disappoints me. And the funny thing is, too, is that I've been listening to a lot of the reviews online from people who have loved it, and from people who have hated it, and from people who are sort of in the middle like me. Like, I don't hate the movie. I don't hate the movie at all. There's a lot to love about The Last Jedi. A lot. But it takes a turn for me, as I mentioned in the video that I uploaded yesterday when I was in my car. It takes a bit of a turn for me at the beginning of the third act. And everybody seems to be complaining about, the subplot with Rose and Finn and the casino. And on first viewing, that didn't bother me. I mean, maybe when I watch the movie again, I'll be like, yeah, this is kind of slow, or this is completely unnecessary, or whatever the case is. Maybe it will. But I'm giving you my first raw impressions, right? And that subplot just didn't bother me the way that it bothered a lot of people. Poe's arc didn't bother me at all. I actually really liked Poe's arc, and I think his character arc in the whole movie was probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, compared to where he began to where he sort of ended up. I didn't mind it. Didn't mind it at all. The arc that bothered me, that nobody seems to be talking about, is Rey's arc. I seem to be the only one, at least that's expressing this, that I've seen, that really wants Luke to be the Last Jedi and not Rey to be the Last Jedi. And this isn't, a guy who's nearly 40 complaining that his theories didn't come true or any of that kind of shit. It has nothing to do with that. This is about how you construct the second act in a 3-act play. And even though you don't have to, abide by the rules, fully, there should be, I should have felt, leaving the theater, I should have felt like, oh, fuck. Like I said in my video yesterday, I should have left the theater going, no way. Oh, man, what's going to happen? And I didn't. I remember leaving the theater and it was kind of quiet. Like people were leaving the theater. It was packed. Absolutely packed, right? Because it was opening night. Well, technically, Friday night. But so when my girlfriend and I were leaving the theater, we weren't really saying anything to each other. And we don't usually do anyway. Like we wait till we sort of get in the car to express our thoughts about a movie that we've just watched. But as we were leaving, I think we both kind of could feel the energy off each other. Like, we're a little disappointed here. Like we weren't looking at each other going, holy crap. No. And nobody was. Everyone was kind of like, like nobody was saying anything, and the music was playing and the credits were rolling and nobody was saying anything. I think we were all kind of like, I think a lot of people, we want to like this movie. Not like this movie. We want to love this movie. But the beginning of that third act, and by the way, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, okay? If you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to, talk about spoilers again, so turn this video off if you haven't seen it, but here come the spoilers, folks. Here come the spoilers. Like I said, when Snoke was killed, that should have been the beginning of a real turn of the entire fucking movie. And it wasn't. It wasn't. Nothing happened. Snoke was killed and Kylo Ren sort of, okay. But Rey didn't go. Rey should have gone. Rey should have gone with Kylo Ren. It doesn't mean that Rey has to stay there. It doesn't mean that she can't be redeemed at the end or even in the middle or even at the beginning of Episode 9. I mean, that would be kind of lame. But it doesn't mean that at some point in Episode 9 she can't be redeemed. But how awesome would that have been? How awesome would that have been if Rey actually went with Kylo Ren. And you could totally, see that she's struggling. And she's not quite sure that she's made the right choice, but there is that pull. She's, enamored with this guy. There's something about Ben. There's something about Kylo Ren that she finds incredibly fascinating and attractive. And I don't mean physically attractive or just physically attractive. I mean, who he is drawing her in. She's attracted to that, okay? And she makes that choice because she's pissed off at Luke. Luke didn't end up being the guy that she thought he was going to be. And she doesn't know where her place is. And she doesn't know who her parents are. And according to Kylo Ren, if he's telling her the truth, which he may not be, but let's say he is, that her parents were nobodies, fucking nobodies, right? Well, she's kind of pissed off about that, and she's come to terms with that, and she's like, where is my place here? I don't get this. I feel so fucking lost and confused, and maybe my place is here with this guy. That would have been amazing, and the perfect way that you end the second act. You let everybody leave the theater going, oh no. It doesn't mean you gotta leave, it doesn't mean you gotta leave it there, but fuck, this movie, like I've said in my other video that I uploaded yesterday, this movie ended like it was the third act in a trilogy. Like it ended very sort of heroic and happy, and yeah, Luke died, I get that, but it ended so complete and heroically, and the Jedi will live on, and this is just the beginning, and what do you do? Why are you ending the movie like this? The movie should not have ended like that. The movie should have ended with uncertainty, and I know that you could say, well, there's still some uncertainty. Well, yeah, because Hux and Kylo are still out there, but yeah, again, I guess I'm just kind of repeating myself from the video that I uploaded yesterday. But as you can see, I'm really taken back by the way they decided to end this. They took the ball so far and tripped on the 4-yard line. They didn't run it into the end zone. Rey should have gone with Kylo Ren, and Rey should have been in that ship with Kylo and Hux looking out at Luke on Crate. Rey should have been in there. That would have been amazing, right? And when Finn, is flying his ship, he sees Rey, right? And he's like, no, Rey, no, this can't be happening, or whatever the case is, right? And maybe when Rose saves his life, he's more enamored with Rey than he is with Rose, because the chemistry between him and Rose was really forced. It didn't work for me, especially when she kissed him. He didn't move his lips at all. It was like this. He was like, hey, dude, don't kiss me, okay? Because he probably is enamored with Rey. He loves Rey. That's who he wants to be with. That doesn't mean that is actually going to happen, but that's where his focus is. That's why he's doing all this, really. So that would have been an amazing moment, an amazing character moment for Finn if he actually saw that Rey was with them, right? It's like, oh, fuck, no. What the fuck are you doing, Rey? And maybe, I don't know, just rework that scene a bit, and and then maybe Luke does come back. Yeah, rework it, rewrite it, so it doesn't end so heroically. I mean, you can still have Luke come back, and you can still have him there, and you can still have him save the day. You can still have him save the fucking day. You can do that. But it doesn't end with Luke basically saying, I'm not the Last Jedi, Rey's the Last Jedi. No, it doesn't end like that. Don't do that. Don't do that, because then it renders the whole point of the movie meaningless. It renders the whole title meaningless, because then, so what is Rey gonna do? Rey's just gonna, she has the books now, and she's gonna start the new Jedi Order, and oh God, it's just so... It's not yes, there were risks that were taken throughout the movie, but the ultimate risk, the ultimate story arc is Rey's. That is the ultimate story arc. And there was no arc, really, other than what we thought was going to happen. It's so cookie cutter predictable that I just was like, don't do that. No, have her have her go with Ren. Have her go with Ren. You kill Snoke, which is, as I said yesterday in my video, it's like, oh my God, that's the beginning. That's the beginning. It's holy shit. We didn't see that happening. Now you got to follow through. Now you have to follow through. Put put, Rey. Write it so Rey goes with Ren. Follow through, because now we're really uncomfortable. Now it's like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? But it didn't. It didn't. She just escaped somehow. And I think Kylo even said she escaped in a pod or a shuttle or something like that. And then the next time we see Rey, she's, in the Millennium Falcon on the Battle of Crate. And it's kind of like, how did she, so wait, I thought she escaped in a shuttle. How is she, so in between all that, she went back to Act 2, got the Millennium Falcon and Chewie, and went back to Crate, but we never saw that happen. As far as I know, I don't even think we saw that happen. So when Rey showed up on Crate in the Falcon, I was like, oh, where did you come from? I thought, she shouldn't have been in the Falcon. Chewie could have been in the Falcon, but she should not have been in the Falcon. Now, I mean, if I was writing the tail end of the third act, I would have had everything play out the same way. The only differences that I would have done was I would have had Rey in that ship with Kylo and Hux looking out at Luke on Crate. That's what I would have done. That would have been amazing. And you can still have everything play out the same way. Luke shows up through meditation, right? Now, I always kind of knew there was something wrong with that scene when he showed up and his hair was really short and his beard was dyed dark. I was kind of thinking to myself, something doesn't seem right here. And sure enough, he wasn't actually there. Now, of course, the reason why he looked like that was because that's the way he looked the last time anybody saw him. So that's why they're seeing him that way. Right? Which I thought was brilliant. And you can still, you can absolutely still have all that. You can have him show up, you can have him have the conversation with Leia. But when he goes out to face the walkers and the ships, this is where we see Luke Skywalker use the full potential of his Jedi powers. This is the moment we've all been waiting for with Luke Skywalker. Okay? And he throws out his hands in front of him and he just obliterates all of the walkers and all of the ships or whatever the case is, right? They're all thrown back or they're all, totally, annihilated or whatever happens, to all these things. And then what happens, of course, is Kylo's ship is like the only one to barely survive, right? The one that Hux and Rey are on. So they kind of gather themselves together. The ship is kind of there. It's damaged. It's smoking, but it's still kind of there. And Luke is about to give them one last shot, right? One last fucking force kind of whatever the shit that's going to come out of him and totally annihilate them. But then he realizes that Rey is on the ship. He sees Rey and he knows that Rey's the future, not the future of the Jedi as we know it, but the future of something new, the evolution of the Jedi to, whatever it's going to become. He knows that, so he hesitates. He doesn't want to completely obliterate them because he realizes that Rey is there and you can see his face. You can see, no, Rey, no, don't do this, right? And then Kylo orders, with what arms they have left to just obliterate Luke. So you can still kind of have that scene. It might not be nearly as impressive as having all the walkers firing on him, but you can still have a ton of like lasers and cannons and missiles or whatever the case is firing from his ship at Luke, because at this point they still think he's actually there, right? And they totally are annihilating him, and the salt and the sand is flying up in the air, and we think that Luke is dead, and all of a sudden, he comes out and he, brushes the dirt off his shoulder. The same kind of thing can happen. And that's when they realize, what the fuck? But now Kylo is absolutely pissed. So he gets off the ship and he goes down to face Luke in the same kind of way that they already have it, right? And they go through the same kind of motions, but instead of Luke igniting the blue lightsaber as a dead giveaway, maybe he ignites a green lightsaber, okay? Which would have been appropriate because that would have been the last lightsaber that Kylo Ren remembered him having, right? So he ignites the green lightsaber. So the only thing that's still kind of strange is that his hair's short and his beard's dyed. Did they have, hair dye on Act 2, or something? What the hell's going on, right? But they go through the same kind of thing. And of course, Kylo goes to slice him in half and he realizes that Luke isn't there. Now he's like, what the fuck, right? But Luke doesn't have some sort of, conversation about how I'm not the last Jedi, there's going to be more and this is just the beginning and Rey's the last. No, he doesn't have that fucking conversation because he is the last Jedi, okay? But Kylo is fucking stunned and taken back by the power that Luke has to be able to project himself there all the way from somewhere else and still have that kind of power to obliterate all the walkers and the ships and leave his ship and him and Hux hanging by a thread. He's taken back by this. He hasn't seen power like this, so he's a bit taken back, and he goes back onto his ship reluctantly, but he's like, you can see it in his face, like, what the fuck, right? And he knows that if he doesn't get the fuck out of there, he probably is no match for this, but he goes back onto the ship and he lies to Rey, right? He says, he was gonna kill you. You see, he doesn't give a shit about you. He doesn't say shit, but I think you know what I'm saying, right? He doesn't give a fuck about you. He was gonna kill you, just like he was gonna kill me, just like he was gonna kill me, he was gonna kill you. And then Rey starts to believe him, right? Because she's enamored, because Kylo's the only one that's ever shown any interest in her, right? And she buys into it, she believes it, but that's actually not what's happening, right? So they take off, and Luke has to inform the Resistance. Maybe, he can, he shows back up inside the base there, and he has this conversation with the Resistance about how, I'm not going to be here much longer. I mean, he still saved the day. He still fucking saved the day. He annihilated everybody. He came, he saved them. You can have it play out the exact same way, but he's losing his power from doing it. It took a lot out of him to do it. And he has some parting words for the Resistance. You can do this. The fight, has to go on. You have to save Rey. The future, belongs with her and not with me. Blah, blah, blah. You can have him go out on an epic, heroic note and still have him die by the sunset. And, but how amazing would it be if you have all that play out, but that he's the last Jedi? It gives so much more power and so much more meaning and so much more, gravitas to the entire thing. It means so much more knowing that he came back, he saved you all, and he parted as the last Jedi into the sunset. But now it's up to you. Now you guys have to continue to fight and continue to save Rey. And Finn is ready to go. Right? Because he wants to save Rey, right? And Poe wants to. Poe becomes, this new leader now, right? And now and then you go on into episode 9. That's how episode 8 should have ended. That's how you end a second act with more to come. That's what I would have done, because you can still have a lot of the ending play out the way that it did, but you have to make adjustments. And the major adjustment, the big adjustment, is you had to follow through with Rey's arc in the third act. And they did not do that. They Disney-fied it because they didn't want to piss off all the little girls out there who are emotionally attached to their hero Rey. They had the balls to take her so far, but they didn't have the balls to go all the way. And that's what disappoints me, because that movie, The Last Jedi, should have ended with uncertainty in terms of Rey and her future. Yeah, of course you're going to redeem her in episode 9, but that's where the movie should have ended. It should have ended on, whoa, a mixture of heroicness with Luke and major uncertainty with Rey. How amazing would that be playing out throughout episode 9? And, and we're not even sure, like, there's things that happen in episode 9 where we're like, whoa, this might not end up the way we want, right? Like, that's what they should have done. That's how you do a 3-act play. You don't end the second act like you would end a third act. That's how this movie ended to me. It was just kind of like, this is happy for all intents and purposes. I mean, I know, again, Hux and Kylo, are out there, but it ended sort of happy. And again, I know that Luke died, but it was this sort of, they're hugging and they're smiling and you're pulling back and you see, Broom Boy with the broom and looking up into space. And why are we ending the second act like this? That would have been, look, I don't agree with the Broom Boy at all. But if you were going to end any of the movies like that, well, then end it with episode 9, because then you can justify it and saying, well, that shows that there's hope out there and that there's more of them and that there will always be more of them. And I think that's totally lame. But if you're going to do that, end episode 9 like that, because then that's a nice sort of bow on the trilogy, right? Don't end episode 8 like that. Because now, I don't even know where to go. Like I said in my video, Phasma's dead, Luke's dead, Leia's dead, Snoke is dead. I mean, where do you go with this? It really feels like Rian Johnson took everything that J.J. Abrams set up and just went, and throw there's no mystery anymore. That's why you needed to end episode 8 on the mystery, on the what the fuck's gonna happen with Rey. That's why you needed to do that. If you're going to kill Snoke and you're going to kill Phasma, right? and you're going to kill Luke, you've got to end episode 8 on some mystery. You have to end it on a, oh my God. That's what I mean, that when they killed Snoke, what ruined the third act for me was not the killing of Snoke. It was that they didn't follow through. They didn't run it into the end zone. They killed Snoke, but then kept Rey just going, come on, Ben. No, don't do that. You've got to follow through. You got to go all the way, because it has to end now on a, oh no, what's going to happen? And nobody's talking about this. Nobody's mentioning it. Everybody's just saying how they don't like Finn and Rose and how they don't like Poe's arc and how, you know, Luke should have, yeah, and I agree. There should have been more with Luke, 100%. Luke being disgruntled didn't bother me. That didn't upset me. But but Rey, but fuck. That's the way you should have ended it. That's the way you should have ended it. And that's why it fell short for me. I don't hate the movie. But how I feel about The Last Jedi moving forward in the future is all dependent now on what J.J. Abrams does with Episode 9. And I really liked The Force Awakens. For those of you who know me, I really liked The Force Awakens. Really liked it. But I feel like J.J. Abrams' hands are tied now. I feel like he's going to have a conversation with Ryan and be like, yeah, dude, why did you kill Snoke and Phasma and Luke? And like, my hands are tied now. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, and why didn't you leave Rey going to the dark side? Like, what's episode 9 going to be? Just more of the same? Rey fighting Kylo? And like, there's no conflict. Like, so what is she going to be like? Is she going to be struggling with the dark side of the Force at episode 9? Well, yeah, but there's only one movie left. So we know in the next, 45 minutes, that's going to resolve itself and everything's going to be fine anyway. Do you know what I mean? That's why you needed to have the pull to the dark in episode 8, right? And that's why you needed to end episode 8 on the, oh shit, she's gone. Not really, but that's how oh shit, she's gone. And then you spend episode 9, the first half of it with her actually there, but there's a bit of a struggle. She's not sure if she, and then something happens where, she turns and she's redeemed or whatever, right? That's how you do it. That's how I would have done it. So this has nothing to do with my theories. Like, I don't care whose Rey's parents are. If you want to have her as nobodies, fine. I don't care. If you want to kill Snoke, fine. I don't know if I would have done that. But okay, cool, fine. But if you're going to do it, you've got to follow through to justify his killing. Because now his killing just seems like you just didn't like the character and you wanted to get rid of him. Because nothing really epic happens afterwards. Now, obviously, I don't mean literally nothing happens afterwards, but Rey should have gone with Kylo because now Kylo is going to use Rey as his apprentice. That's what I wanted to see. That doesn't end up really coming to fruition. I mean, you can, again, redeem that in episode 9, but we should have been left with that. Kylo killed Snoke because he wants Rey, because he wants to be the badass SOB in the galaxy, and Rey feels not only, is Kylo the only one that pays attention to me? I don't know who my parents are. They were virtually nobodies, and they didn't give a fuck about me. But also, Kylo just saved my fucking life, So now she really feels this pull towards him, and Kylo's going to use her to be his apprentice. I can train you. I can show you the ways in the Force. Remember all that? So, it's the kind of thing where it's like, that's how episode 8 should have ended, and where episode 9 should have started. And it was just kind of like, yeah. And I don't agree with her arc in episode 8. They were so close. Like I said, I don't hate the movie. I like the movie. I do. But that third act is going to take a while to grow on me. And I've only seen the movie once. All these emotions that you're seeing with the video I uploaded yesterday and this video are just pure emotions based on seeing the movie one time a couple of nights ago. So, like I said, how I feel going into the future about that third act will all depend on what J.J. Abrams does with episode 9. He's got a lot to satisfy me. He's got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to satisfy many of you who love The Last Jedi and the way it ended. Well, he doesn't have a lot of work to do at all because he can just go on with the story and you'll probably be satisfied. But for me, he's got a lot of work to do to build any sort of conflict and tension and suspense in episode 9 now. Like, where's the suspense in episode 9? Where's the suspense? Like, what's going to happen? Because if Rey's feeling like she's going to go to the dark side in 9, like I just said, that it's not going to happen because the whole thing's supposed to end at the end of the movie. So it just, yeah. Anyways, my name's Dave McRae. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. Sorry if I repeated myself a little bit from yesterday, but I just needed to express this again. Again, I don't hate the movie. I'm just really disappointed with her arc. The arc that nobody seems to be talking about. I will talk to you guys soon. If you want to follow me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/manythingsdave McRae. McRae is McRae. Facebook.com/manythingsdave McRae. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.